Did Secretary of State Antony Blinken just hack his way into perfect French? Well, maybe he didn't, but you certainly could. And because it's my job as a French coach to help international workers become fluent in French fast, I'm going to show you 7 hacks that Antony Blinken uses in this one interview and that you can start using today to speak French as well as he does. Let's go. First, do not underestimate real friends. The more advanced the topic you need to discuss in French, the more you will use words that are exactly similar to English. Listen to this sentence, for example.
C'est un approfondissement à la fois au niveau de la consultation et communication, mais aussi sur la coordination et la coopération sur les dossiers les plus importants qui lient nos deux pays, que ce soit l'Indo-Pacifique même, où nous allons travailler plus étroitement ensemble, au Sahel, où déjà il y a un partenariat très important qui va s'approfondir, ou dans l'espace euro-atlantique, y compris sur les questions de sécurité.
Remember that English contains about 50% of French words, and those are mostly advanced words. So the more you progress in your French learning journey, the easiest the vocabulary gets. In the rest of the video, I will keep flagging real friends so you can see just how frequent they are. Next, use impressive yet easy grammar. There are words in French that allow you to string sentences together without having to know advanced grammar. You can just keep speaking as if you were making separate sentences. These words, which we call in French conjonction de coordination, are mais, ou, et, donc, or, ni, car, and puis. Antony Blinken's master tip is to use one of those plus an adverb to sound fancier. Listen to these examples.
Et justement, on fait mieux, parce que suite aux instructions des deux présidents, ce qu'on fait maintenant depuis quelques semaines, c'est un approfondissement à la fois au niveau de la consultation et communication, mais aussi sur la coordination et la coopération sur les dossiers les plus importants.
Since we are speaking about making impressive sentences without any advanced grammar at all, here is another hack that Antony Blinken uses and abuses. Expressions that call for the infinitive. First, in French, if you have 2 verbs in a row, the second one will always be in the infinitive, and with that you can avoid a lot of conjugation. Not only you can say things like je vais aller for I will go instead of having to learn the irregular future of the verb aller, but also you can use some really fancy expressions. Listen to this.
On aurait pu, on aurait dû faire mieux.
You can learn these kind of things as a chunk. For example, you can learn that on aurait pu, and the infinitive means we could have, while on aurait dû means we should have. Other expressions that call for the infinitive includes some adjectives. For example,
j'ai bien compris, et surtout, j'étais très content aujourd'hui de pouvoir passer déjà 1 heure en tête-à-tête avec Jean-Yves Le Drian.
And even complete expressions such as...
mais surtout, on a parfois tendance à prendre pour acquis une relation aussi importante, aussi profonde que celle qui lie la France et les États-Unis.
By the way, it should be prendre pour acquise une relation because relation is feminine, but no one really cares if you make an occasional mistake like that. I will also keep flagging those expressions because you will see he keeps using them. Our 4th hack is to say things in a simpler manner and to avoid the things that you don't know how to use, such as, for example, the subjunctive. There are a lot of connector words in French that are difficult to use because they will call for the subjunctive or for otherwise modifying the French grammar. And the key to dealing with those challenges successfully early on is to be really good at avoiding them, and Antony Blinken is excellent at it. Listen to hear how he breaks his thoughts in simpler chunks.
Si on définit engagement par combien de troupes est-ce que vous avez dans tel ou tel endroit, ça c'est une question. Si on définit engagement par quel est votre engagement diplomatique, politique, économique et surtout avec alliés et partenaires, je crois que nous sommes très engagés. La relation avec la Chine, pour nous, ou pour la France, et pour beaucoup d'autres pays, c'est une relation qui est très complexe, qui a énormément de conséquences. Ça ne peut pas se définir dans une seule phrase. Il y a des aspects de compétition, il y a des aspects de coopération, il y a des aspects de conflit. Mais que ce soit coopération, que ce soit compétition, que ce soit même conflit, notre intérêt, c'est de pouvoir faire ce travail en commun avec d'autres, avec nos partenaires et nos alliés, pour faire face au défi, mais aussi pour trouver moyen de travailler avec la Chine, qui est aussi incontournable.
Throughout the whole interview of him, which I have listened to many times to make this video, I haven't heard one subjunctive. Not one. Maybe he doesn't know how to use it, but he knows very well how to avoid having to use it, and that is the key. So this is something I recommend. Being fluent does not mean knowing all the words and all the grammar, it just means being able to use the words and the grammar that you know to express everything that you want to express. And not only it is easier for him to express himself in his way with shorter, simpler sentences, but that is also easier for the listener to follow. This is also, by the way, a tip for public speaking, whether in French or in English. If you make simpler sentences, it will be easier for people to follow you and to understand you. So a great tip that I can give you is to learn to express yourself in simpler English, even if that's your native language, because it will be then more easy to carry this practice into French, and also it will transfer to other areas of your life, for example, having to speak in public or whenever you have to speak to anyone. The fifth hack is to work on your pronunciation. Now that might sound difficult, and you probably noticed by now that his pronunciation is pristine. We can barely hear a slight American accent. He is even saying as a filler word instead of or the kind of filler words that you'd use in English. He sounds almost like a native. Now, it probably isn't necessary or beneficial for you to sound like a native, so bear that in mind. In my experience, most non-natives will be better off if they have a slight accent. For example, I don't sound like a native English speaker, well, except to the French people who comment under those videos. But you can certainly hear that I'm French. I sound like a French person. In my case, it's beneficial because you can understand that I have learned English very successfully and that I am also a native French speaker. So this allows me to show you my competence in learning languages, even without having to tell you. And since I'm a French learning coach, it's very helpful. So it's kind of a personal branding element, and that will probably be the case for you as well. Having a slight accent will allow you to display your language learning abilities. You will pass as a sophisticated world citizen, and being mistaken for a native means that you would miss out on all of that. Now, if your pronunciation is a problem to the point that people actually don't really understand what you're saying, you can solve that in a matter of a few weeks if you only practice specifically. I will make videos to help you with that next, so please tell me in the comments which sounds or words are hard for you to pronounce so that I can include them in my upcoming videos. Tip number 6 that Antony Blinken is very good at is to throw in a couple of fancy words that sound good but aren't hard to use. Here's a pro tip. The easiest fancy words to use are adverbs, and he uses a lot of them. They're also real friends most of the time, so you just have to switch the li in English for mon in French. So here are a couple of examples.
Non seulement un collègue, mais un ami de longue date. Et puis, effectivement, de pouvoir passer du temps avec le président de la République, de deux choses l'une. Soit quelqu'un d'autre le fera, et probablement pas au sens de nos intérêts et de nos valeurs, ou personne ne le fera. Et alors là, nous aurons la loi de la jungle, et on a vu dans le passé, ça ne s'arrange pas bien quand c'est le cas.
Tip number 7 is to rehearse and speak confidently. Now, honestly, listening to this interview, it feels like he has rehearsed some of those sentences. And if you have to speak about the same topics over and over again, it's good to rehearse them ahead of time so you can be more confident when it's time to use them. Confidence is everything when you have to speak a foreign language, because if you cannot remember or you cannot speak confidently, it's as if you hadn't learned anything. So how can you increase your confidence? The first tip I can give you is to practice in a safe space. As a French coach, it's my job to provide the right space for you to make progress without pressure, whether it's in one-on-one sessions or in a group session within the French Fluency Accelerator. And other things that I like to use with my students are meditations and affirmations. And with that, you can actually get started right now. Here are some tracks that I made to help you unleash your French speaking abilities and speak as confidently as Mr. Blinken does. Just give it a try and watch your results. I'll see you there.